Before revelation, before guidance, before the light, there was silence. Not the silence of peace, but the silence of a world waiting. A world where truth had not yet spoken and hearts wandered without direction. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. The Arabian Peninsula in the 6th century was a land of extremes. Vast deserts stretched beyond the horizon. Harsh winds shaped both the land and its people. Life was simple, yet survival was difficult. Water was precious, food was uncertain, security was fragile, and strength often decided who would live with honor and who would live forgotten. Across the earth, civilizations rose with power but fell in purpose. Kings ruled through fear, empires expanded through blood. Justice belonged to the strong, mercy was rare, and truth was buried beneath pride and idols. Humanity advanced in buildings and armies but regressed in morals and meaning. It was a world moving forward without guidance. Most people lived without divine guidance. Idols stood where truth should have stood. Stone and wood were worshipped, while the creator of the heavens was forgotten. People called upon gods that could not hear them, and bowed to figures that could not save them. Faith had become tradition, and worship had lost its meaning. Arabia stood apart from these empires, unconquered, unrefined, unrecorded. Its deserts were harsh, its tribes divided, its laws unwritten. Yet within this isolation, Allah was preparing a land untouched by empire, unclaimed by kings, and unspoiled by philosophy. A land ready to receive revelation. Injustice spread quietly. The strong ruled without accountability. The weak were exploited without mercy. Orphans were ignored. Women were treated as property. The poor had no voice. Tribal pride replaced moral truth. Loyalty to blood mattered more than justice. And revenge passed from generation to generation like an inheritance of anger. Arab life revolved around tribe and bloodline. Honor was inherited. Protection was conditional. Wars were ignited by a single insult and sustained for generations. Women had little protection. Orphans had no voice. The poor were forgotten. But even within this darkness, Allah preserved noble traits, hospitality, courage, loyalty, as seeds for what was to come. Arab life revolved around tribe and bloodline. Honor was inherited. Protection was conditional. Wars were ignited by a single insult and sustained for generations. Women had little protection. Orphans had no voice. The poor were forgotten. But even within this darkness, Allah preserved noble traits, hospitality, courage, loyalty, as seeds for what was to come. Some buried their daughters alive, fearing shame more than sin. Children were judged before they could speak. Lives ended before they could begin. And few questioned this cruelty because darkness had become normal. At the heart of Arabia stood Mecca, not powerful, not fertile, not defended by walls. Yet it was home to the Kaaba, built by Ibrahim and Ismail, peace be upon them both. Pilgrims still came, but the purpose was lost. The house of Allah remained while the message was forgotten. But even in this darkness, Allah preserved sparks of light. Some rejected idols, some honored truth quietly. Some still believed in justice even when society mocked it. Among them was a noble lineage, a family known for honor, generosity, and trust. The family of Quraysh. Though idolatry spread, Allah preserved one lineage in purity. From Ibrahim to Ismail to generations unknown until Quraysh. From Quraysh to Banu Hashim, a lineage protected from immorality, never tainted by idol worship, preparing the family from which the final messenger would emerge. Quraysh held a unique position in Arabia. They were guardians of the Kaaba, custodians of pilgrimage, leaders of Mecca. Their trade caravans traveled north and south, bringing wealth, influence, and respect. But power also hardened hearts. Leadership became pride, status became arrogance, and Mecca, though sacred, became spiritually hollow. From within Quraysh came a noble branch, Banu Hashim, known for generosity, for protecting the weak, for honoring guests and travelers. From this lineage came Abdul Muttalib, a man respected across Arabia, a man known for wisdom, dignity, and faith. Before the light would appear, loss came first. Abdul Muttalib's beloved son, Abdullah, was known for purity of character. He was chosen to marry Amina bint Wahb, a woman of grace and noble heart, but happiness was short. On a trade journey, Abdullah fell ill, and before his son was born, he passed away, leaving behind a widow and a child who would enter this world without a father. As the year of the elephant faded into memory, Mecca slept beneath familiar stars. No celebration announced what was coming, no voice proclaimed the change ahead, yet the heavens were aware. The final chapter of guidance was about to begin in silence. Before he would guide humanity, he was tested with loss. Before he would lead nations, he entered life as an orphan. Allah was preparing him, not with comfort, but with wisdom born from hardship. The night approached, a night unlike any other. The world slept, unaware that history was about to change. In Mecca, under the same stars that watched generations rise and fall, a child was about to be born. Across continents, humanity drifted further from divine guidance. Revelation had faded into legend and prophecy into memory. People no longer asked what was right, only what was profitable. Power defined truth. Wealth defined worth. The strong dictated law, and the weak learned silence. Faith existed, but distorted. God was acknowledged, but misunderstood. Humanity still believed, but no longer submitted. In the year of the elephant, the year already marked by divine protection, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, peace be upon him, was born. Born not into royalty, not into wealth, but into destiny. Amina felt peace that night. Light filled her heart, and the world welcomed a child who would never worship an idol, never bow to falsehood, and never betray trust. In Arabia, idols stood where principles should have been. Each tribe shaped a God in its own image to justify its own desires. Some worshipped stone, others worshipped lineage, others worshipped power itself. Yet beneath this chaos, the human soul still searched for meaning. A silent question echoed through the desert: is this all there is? Empires stood tall, yet their hearts were hollow. Power ruled the land, but justice was absent. The strong consumed the weak, and mercy was a forgotten language. Across the deserts of Arabia, tribes lived by blood and pride. Lineage was honored, but life itself was cheap. Daughters were buried in the sand, and cruelty was defended as tradition. People worshipped what their own hands had carved. Stone idols were given names, hopes and prayers, yet they could neither hear nor respond. Humanity was searching, not always with words, but with pain, confusion, and silent longing. Something was missing, and the world knew it. Though born fatherless, he was never abandoned. Allah was his guardian. Every step of his life was written before creation itself. The darkness did not know it yet, but its days were numbered. Life in Arabia was simple, but harsh. Days were shaped by survival, nights by reflection beneath endless stars. They valued poetry because it preserved memory. They valued lineage because it preserved identity. There were no scriptures read aloud, no scholars guiding the masses, only inherited customs, some noble, many destructive. While chaos spread across the earth, the plan of Allah was unfolding in silence. No trumpet announced it, no crown was prepared, no palace awaited the one to come. He would be born among the humble, raised among shepherds, known not for wealth or power, but for truthfulness and trust. The world did not yet see him, but history was already turning toward his arrival. A mercy was approaching, and nothing would ever be the same again. A world lost in injustice, a society drowning in pride, and a child born in silence. This was not coincidence. This was preparation. In the next chapter, the child will grow, and the world will begin to change. Mecca remained sacred, but its sanctity was hollow. The Kaaba stood at its center, surrounded by idols placed by human hands. Pilgrims circled the house, but forgot the one it was built for. The rituals remained, the meaning did not. This is faithful Islamic Narratives, where history is remembered with truth and stories are told with respect. And this was the world before the light. Allah does not send guidance randomly. Every messenger arrives at the precise moment humanity can no longer guide itself. This moment was approaching. The world did not need a philosopher. It did not need a king. It needed a mercy, a messenger untouched by corruption, raised in hardship, prepared by divine care. No angels announced the choice to the world. No banners were raised. Yet destinies were already written, lineages aligned, events unfolded. Protection surrounded what had not yet appeared. History moved quietly but deliberately. The world stood at a threshold it could not see, a moment that would divide history into before and after. Darkness had reached its limit, and when darkness reaches its limit, Allah sends light. Not with noise, not with force, but with truth.